Hey, what it do, sports world, and welcome to the Real Untouchable Podcast, man. I'm back at you again with another episode. I want to talk about the NBA playoffs. Man, we had two game sevens yesterday. We had the Indiana Pacers and the New York Knicks, and we also had the Minnesota Timberwolves traveling to the defending champions, the defending champion Denver Nuggets hometown for game seven. Hey, let's go ahead and jump into this thing, man. Hey, it was a great day of NBA. In the first game, the Indiana Pacers versus the New York Knicks. We saw the Indiana Pacers come in there and pretty much beat up on, dominate the New York Knicks, even though the New York Knicks, and like I said in an earlier episode, if you go back and watch, I said it. I said that it would come down to injury. It would come down to fatigue. And that is exactly what it came down to in the end. The New York Knicks just could not get it done. They just could not finish this, healthy because of all the long minutes that Thibs was pretty much playing these guys. I said it. I said it earlier in the series in game two, game three. I said, listen, I don't know how much that this team is going to be able to do. I don't know how much this team is going to be able to play with them playing 40 minutes. Okay, Dimazinzo, Dimachinzo pretty much played another 41 minutes tonight. Last night. I'm sorry. Last night, another 41 minutes, even though he had 39 points, a big game from him. Josh Hart played 37 minutes. This dude averaged like 43, 44 minutes this entire series. He played 48 minutes a full game 3-4 times this series. Okay, like that this is gonna come back to haunt them. Okay, then when we go down the line, injury after injury, Anunoby, he was only able to play 5 minutes. Honestly, he was 2 for 2 when he was in the game. So if he's able to play maybe 25, 30 minutes, who knows? New York maybe can pull this off. Then Jalen Brunson, he went 6 for 17. He had 9 assists, but he was 17 points, but it was 6 for 17. And then what happened in the third? Okay, he ended up breaking his hand. What could go wrong did go wrong for the New York Knicks in this game right here. When you lose all of these players, you already got Josh Hart is already hurt. Anunoby is hurt. Okay, so when you look at it, even though we had Burks come off the bench with 26, Burks had a good game, man. Hey, make sure y'all give it out to Burks. He had a good game, but there was only so much he could do. Okay, and like I said, what could go wrong did go wrong when it came down to fatigue and injuries, and this is the reason why the New York Knicks was eliminated in Game 7 against this Indiana Pacer team. Okay, but when we go up to the Indiana Pacers, I've been saying this: who could lead the Indiana Pacers? Who was the one player that I felt, could be the one that actually lead this team? I've been saying it was Pascal Siakam. Pascal Siakam is the one player that have to, lead this team. And if he can't do it, I just don't think nobody else can do it, even though Halliburton had a really good game. But some games, Halliburton come out there and you don't even recognize him. So when you get on to and then you had Nembhard. Nembhard had a good game, 8 for 10. He was 20 points. Miles Turner finally had a good game. Nesmith, he was 8 for 8, 19 points. So all their starters was in double figures. Then when you go down there to the bench, McConnell pretty much played a hell of a game, a hell of a series off the bench. When you look at it, he played a hell of a series. Okay, he came in, he had 12 points in this game. Okay, but like I said, when it comes to Indiana, can they beat the Boston Celtics? I think any team can beat the Boston. Any team can beat any team. But the biggest winner from this series in the entire playoff was the Boston Celtics. And the reason why I think the Boston Celtics was the biggest winner, because they are the defending Eastern Conference champions. They went head-to-head last season with the Denver Nuggets. Okay, and we're gonna get into talking about the Denver Nuggets game as well. They played against the Denver Nuggets for the championship last season, so they feel like it's their time. But I'm gonna give y'all my predictions a little bit later in the show. But let's go ahead and move on to game 2. It was the Timberwolves and the defending champion Nuggets, and like I've been telling everybody, Ant-Man had a bad game, but his teammates picked him up. Jamal Murray and Joker, they had hell of a game, but they didn't have that third player to pretty much come along with them. If they have a third player to come along with them, maybe a Michael Porter Jr., who I feel is the third best player on this team, I think that they win this game. Michael Porter Jr. came out there with 7 points. Aaron Gordon only had 11 points. I mean, only had 4 points. So when you look at this, when you look at these stats, and when you look at Joker and you look at Murray, they combined for 69 points. 69, they only scored 90 points. So they combined for almost 70 of the 90 points. And then when you look at the bench, only Christian Braun came out there and gave 5 points. And hey, man, make sure y'all give it up to Christian Braun, the ex-Kansas Jayhawk. But listen, Christian Braun, I think that next season, Christian Braun is the starting shooting guard for the Denver Nuggets. I think it's time. If you're going to keep Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, cool. But I think he should be moved to the bench. I think it's time to allow the young kid of Christian Braun to get on the floor more and be that third and be maybe the fourth, player, most important player on this team, because he's a really good defender. He can hit big shots. He can hit threes. So I think it's time for them to finally, put him in a role where he can become the fourth player, maybe the fourth guy. If Michael Porter Jr. can settle into that third role, that third man role. But Michael Porter Jr., he was 3 for 12, 1 for 6 from 3. He was just terrible. 7 points, 9 rebounds. And he was pretty much, and like I tell everybody, when Michael Porter Jr. is not scoring, he might as well be sitting over there on the bench. He might as well be sitting right here with me. He might as well be sitting right here on this podcast talking to me, you see, because he's not doing nothing else. Okay. And that's the one thing, same thing I just talked about in the last episode when I talked about Caitlin Clark, Michael Porter Jr. as well. He needs to get better. He needs to, expand his game. When we look at him now, he's a spot-up shooter. I think he needs to learn how to dribble more. Okay, I think he needs to learn how to dribble more, get out there in the paint, and dominate in the paint. I think that his game is so versatile because he's a 6'10 6'10 small forward. He's the same height as Jason Tatum. Like he's a tall, small forward. So when you look at him, he's a lot of things that he can do with his game. So I think that in the offseason, he needs to get better. Nikola Jokic and Murray is going to come back. I think that this game humbled him. I think this game humbled that coach, Mike Malone. I think that this game humbled him as well because he's been doing all the talking about everything. And then finally, this team, Minnesota Timberwolves, pretty much humbled him. But when we talk about the Minnesota Timberwolves, Jaden McDaniel pretty much played another really, really good game. I was listening to Skip Bayless them talk today about Jaden McDaniels. Oh, man, he can't do this. Man, that dude ain't going to put up 20 points. In this series right here, Jaden McDaniels scored 20 points at least 3 to 4 times in this series. And then they talking about that PJ Washington. Who would you rather have? I'd rather have Jaden McDaniel because he's a proven defensive player. He's one of the best defensive players in the league, okay, over PJ Washington, because I can't expect for PJ Washington. PJ Washington up until last series really did absolutely nothing. So when you talk about this, and then you got Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert come out here and he stirs 13 points, 9 rebounds. He can pretty much do the same thing against the Dallas Mavericks. Karl-Anthony Towns, he's going to have, oh my God, he's going to have the ultimate mismatch in the series against the Dallas Mavericks. When you look at it, he had 23 points and 12 rebounds. Everybody talk about Ant-Man. Ant-Man is their star, but this team is only going to go as far as Karl-Anthony Towns takes them, because he's one of the most important pieces on this team. That's why when I looked at this game right here, Game 7, I said, man, Karl-Anthony Towns is going to have at least 20 points. That's the only way that this team is going to be able to win this game. And then he did it. Mike Conley came back. Mike Conley had 10 points and 8 rebounds. I want to say this, Paul Pierce, for you to say that Mike Conley cannot put up points. Mike Conley can definitely put up 10, 15 points every night. Okay? Like, for a fact that he can do it. Okay, if you don't like the team, cool. But we know that this dude can put up points. Like, he's been doing it for the longest. And he is the most important player because he's the point guard. He's the one who keeps the ball out of Anthony Edwards' hands. He can get the ball to Anthony Edwards where he wants the ball at. Okay, and then we got Ant-Man. Ant-Man had a terrible game. He was 6 of 24, 2 for 10 from 3. He had 8 rebounds and 7 assists. But, and he was a plus 11. But he made plays when they needed to make it. And he was sitting on the bench, and he said something to the coach. He was like, listen, I'm about to go in my bag. When he said that, I said, man, this dude right here is special. But everybody that's doubting this Minnesota Timberwolves team, this team is 56-26. We know that they're gonna in the next series they're gonna play. As y'all know, the Denver Nuggets has been eliminated, so the Minnesota Timberwolves will play the Dallas Mavericks. Same thing with the Indiana Pacers; they will play against the Boston Celtics. What do I think about these two teams? What do I think about these four teams? I mean, these two series. Okay, I'm gonna talk about the Boston series. I'm going with Boston. I said that Boston is the biggest winner. Boston was the biggest winner when the Denver Nuggets got put out. Now they really have nobody standing in their way but themselves. Okay, this Boston Celtics team is built to win an NBA championship this season. And honestly, I think this right here might be their best opportunity to win an NBA championship. Let's be honest. When you look at every other team in the NBA right now that's still playing, the Boston Celtics is probably the most complete team. And I know everybody's saying they can't win a championship without Kristaps Porzingis. I think they can win a championship without Kristaps Porzingis. That's just my opinion. When you got Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, you got Derek White, you got Jrue Holiday, okay, that's enough. And then you got Al Horford still down there balling every now and then. He'll put up 15 points. That's enough to win the NBA championship. With everybody that they got coming off the bench, that's certainly enough for them to win an NBA title, okay? And when you look at the Indiana Pacers, like, yes, they are a good team, but I think Tyrese Halliburton, I just don't know what I'm gonna get from him on a daily basis, on a game-to-game base. I just don't know what I'm gonna get from him. One game he might come out there and he might give you 25. The next game he might come out there and give you 8. And honestly, I think Jrue Holiday can make it real uncomfortable for Tyrese Halliburton, and I think he will. I think that he will make it uncomfortable. This is the reason the Boston Celtics went out here and got him. They went out there and got him because they knew that this team needed a defensive stopper. Is he like he used to be? No, he's not. But he's what they need. And I expect for the Boston Celtics to go out here. I expect for Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown I expect for them to seize this moment, this opportunity, because this right here, they've had the easiest route to the Eastern Conference Finals. They will have the easiest route to the NBA Finals if they can win this series, which I think they will win this series. I think they win this series in 6. I think it's going to be 4-2. Okay, and I think that this team, I think that they're going to come out there tomorrow. Even tomorrow, I think they're going to come out there and they're going to flex their muscles on game 1. Now, game 2, I think I can see game 2 going either way because I know how lazy the Boston Celtics are. But if the Boston Celtics come out here and they're focused, this series right here can be a dominant series. Okay, I can see that the Boston Celtics seize this opportunity and see that the one team that could beat them, that's have beaten them, is gone, and that's the Denver Nuggets. I need them. I think Boston. If I'm their head coach, I go to my team and I tell my team, listen, this right here might be the best opportunity for us to finally win us an NBA title. That's just my opinion. And when we look over there to the other side, the Western Conference Finals, we go over there and we take a look at these two teams. This right here is a perfect matchup. We got the Minnesota Timberwolves against the Dallas Mavericks. This is going to be a hell of a series. I'm going with the Minnesota Timberwolves. I think that when you defeat the champs, when you defeat the defending NBA champion, you defeat the 3-time MVP and Nikola Jokic. You defeat Jamal Murray and the boys. You can't lose to Luka Doncic. Let's be real. You just cannot lose to Luka Doncic. Yeah, Luka gonna put up points. He's gonna put up his 25 to 30 points. Kyrie is gonna come along. But I said this as well. I said what this team needs to do is this. They need to pretty much eliminate the others. Who's the others? PJ Washington. You got the other guy, Lively. Those are the others. Tim Hardaway Jr. Those are the others. Okay? So those are the ones that they need to eliminate. Those are the guys that they need to eliminate when it comes down to this series right here. Let Luka get his 30. Let Kyrie get his 30. Same thing y'all did to Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray. Just shut down the others. When you shut down the others, you're gonna be good. You're gonna be straight. Okay. And that's exactly what I expect from this team. I expect for the Minnesota Timberwolves to come out there and put on a defensive masterpiece. That's what I wanted to say. I expect for them to put on a masterpiece. You know how you season up your food? I don't know nothing about seasoning up my food because I just throw anything on. But you know how some people season up their food and it's a masterpiece. That's how I expect for this defensive performance to be in this series for the Minnesota Timberwolves. I expect for them to win this series. I'm going to go in either 6 games or maybe even 7 games, but I expect for the Minnesota Timberwolves to get to the NBA Finals. That's my pick. That's my prediction. Who I think will make it to the NBA Finals: the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Boston Celtics. Okay, these two teams are prime. These two teams, and like I said, you have Luka Doncic. And for people that's saying today, right, that said that Ant-Man and the rest of these boys, like the Minnesota Timberwolves got a perfect team to beat the Dallas Mavericks. The Dallas Mavericks have 2 explosive scores. But besides those, the rest of the players are just regular. Let's just be real. Let's just be honest. They beat a young Oklahoma City Thunder team. Oklahoma City Thunder is what? The second youngest team in the NBA? So if you beat the second youngest team in the NBA, and to be real with you, I think Minnesota Timberwolves beat them in probably 5 or 6 games as well. I think they beat the Oklahoma City Thunder because of how young the Thunder was. When the Thunder needed to make adjustments, when they needed to, finish a game, they was up by like 15 points in the last game, and they let them come back. But I'm going with these two teams. I'm going with the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Boston Celtics. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this segment. Let me know what y'all think about as these two teams get ready to face off in the Eastern and Western Conference Finals. We got game 1 tomorrow, Boston, Indiana. I'm going with Boston to take game 1 in a masterful performance. I think this right here is going to be where they actually show Indiana why they don't deserve to be on the same court as them. And then I think Wednesday, I think that the Minnesota Timberwolves come out there and put the clamps on Luka Doncic and take game 1 as well. But hey, man, we'll come back to y'all probably on Thursday for the next episode as we get ready to talk about the NBA playoffs. Make sure y'all tune in. Hey, make sure y'all have a great week, a great week of work. Make sure y'all be safe out there. Until next time, peace.